Hello, Steve from F1MOTO. Today we're going to talk about aftermarket pistons and the different variety manufacturing methods and piston to cylinder clearance. So we have a number of examples here to show you. The first two on the left here is are cast pistons. So the way to identify a cast piston, simply look underneath the piston and then you'll see small flashing marks from the mould. Cast pistons tend to be the cheaper end of the market, but absolutely nothing wrong with running cast pistons in two-stroke engines. Most OEM pistons will be cast pistons. So the examples we have here are firstly a Pro X piston, as you can see, molybdenum coated skirt for low friction, as is the Vertex example here. So molybdenum coating always a good thing, anti-friction coating aids running in process. So moving on, we have a forged piston. This example is a Wasner, again molybdenum coated skirt, and if we look at the inside of this one, you'll see there's no flashing marks. The grain structure is really fine. So the advantage of a forged piston is that the stamping process really compresses the grains of the material, so it gives it inherently good mechanical strength, a good thermal conductivity properties, and just a good strong piston. So a little bit more hard wearing, a little bit holds its shape better, which reduces blow-by. So very good piston, the Wasner piston. We've been using these for a number of years. Another forged piston is the American piston, Wiseco piston. Again, another good piston, but you'll see that it doesn't have molybdenum coating on this example. Some Wiseco pistons do, some don't. It's really just look of the draw. Finally, we have a billet piston here. So billet means machined from a solid bar. It's neither cast nor forged. So really high accuracy on this one, being produced entirely on a CNC milling machine, and then unique features can be put into these. Like this one has internal ribbing around the crown of the piston, so good for thermal distribution properties, good for holding its shape. This is our choice when it comes to outright race engines. So piston sizes on a lot of aftermarket pistons, you will see letters after the part number A, B or C. And what this means is simply the diameter of the piston on the skirt, and for each letter increment, that size there increases by 0.01 of a millimetre or 10 microns. Or to put it into context, an average human hair is 70 microns in diameter, so a seventh of a human hair would be what that would increase for every letter size. So the way to identify which size you need for your bike is to clean the carbon off the top of the piston, see if it has any identifying marks, contact us with that information, and then we can replace it with like for like. So if your bike's run for hours, been running happily, no wear on it, and you simply want a replacement, give us that information. We will be able to supply you the appropriate piston. The absolute best way of doing it is to size the piston, and by that we mean we would take our micrometer, we would measure the piston. Pistons are neither round nor parallel, they tape at an oval. That is to allow for thermal expansion, because obviously the piston will expand more at the crown, around the periphery here, than it will at the skirt. So it's to give it a more cylindrical form at full operating temperature. So the point at which we measure it is 90 degrees to the gudgeon pin, or wrist pin for our American friends, and about 8 to 10 mil down from the the bottom of the skirt. So we simply measure that point, lock the micrometer off, then we take our bore gauge and we set our bore gauge to 0, so that then has set the bore gauge to the piston diameter, and then we insert that into the cylinder and measure it at a number of points along both axes to determine the clearance. That clearance on a small two-stroke piston like this should be approximately 0.05 of a millimetre. Vernier calipers are telescopic gauges, just aren't accurate enough. Be sure to either get it measured at a good machine shop. This is a service we offer to local customers, so anybody replacing their piston locally who wants the absolute right piston, bring your cylinder up in, we will measure it and check the clearance absolutely free of charge, and then we can supply you the correct piston for your cylinder. So that covers pistons and piston sizing for today. Be sure to catch our next video.